Okay, so I have been asked to talk about the economic outlook. And there is a lot to talk about, and as usual, not that much time. But I want to say at the very outset that trying to determine the path of the economy these days has gotten a lot more challenging because there are just so many moving parts out there. For example, we know that the Federal Reserve is about to make some changes in monetary policy. We also know the oil prices are coming down, and how much more will they decline? We know there are numerous geopolitical hotspots around the world, the most dangerous being in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East with ISIS. And if things really explode there, it could ricochet and affect the US economy. We have midterm elections, and then the national elections will follow after that. And of course, that could lead to changes in tax and spending policies by the government. And then we also now have the Ebola virus to contend with, which of course, that can affect consumer psychology as well. So, a lot of variables are in flux right now, and they have muddied up the water a little bit. Nevertheless, if we take a deep breath and focus on some of the best forward-looking indicators, forward-looking economic indicators, and then also incorporate a couple of reasonable assumptions that I'll share with all of you in a few moments, I believe there are grounds to be very optimistic about the economic outlook. I'm just going to start right away with some of the numbers that we've got. The economy right now is in its sixth year of the recovery. And usually they don't last this long. The average post-war recovery is about 5.5 years. This is about the time when business activity starts to subside. Not so this time. In fact, what we're actually seeing is the economy gaining more momentum. As you can see from this slide about the long-term outlook for the economy, we expect the economy to continue to grow for at least the next 3 years, averaging around 3%. And we may be in the middle of what could end up the longest economic expansion in US history. All right, now some of you might wonder whether I'm indulging in a bit of hyperbole here. Maybe I took too much medication this morning, or maybe not enough. But the fact is, I think that there is reason to be quite optimistic. And let me start off and tell you why. And I'm going to start with the consumer. The last country I want to focus on is Russia. Russia is on a real cliff dive. They really shot themselves in the foot when they decided to go ahead and annex the Crimea and destabilize the Ukraine. The ruble is at an all-time low. Capital is fleeing like crazy out of Russia. Inflation is increasing, which means they now have to deal with stagflation. And the main export that Russia relies on, oil, the prices there is falling significantly. At this point, it's really interesting. At this point, the only thing Vladimir Putin can do is to go hat in hand to the only country that will provide financial help to Russia, and that's China. Yeah. And China, which is totally unsentimental, very pragmatic, is taking full advantage of the predicament that Russia is in right now, and actually making some incredible long-term deals, trade deals with respect to oil and gas, and even acquiring some of the very latest state-of-the-art military technology.